Hi everyone, I'm Gabby.
And I'm Jay, and this is our journey to retire all over. On this channel, we're sharing our experience as we get ready to retire in 5 years or so, and then spend the rest of our lives exploring the world. Today we're dealing with a very uncomfortable but much needed subject. How to prepare for the end of your relationship while you're still together. Yeah, we're going there.
But first, please like this video to help us with the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe and hit the bell to be notified whenever we post new content. This video has been a tough one to make because preparing for it required us to confront things that we'd all rather not think or talk about. Unfortunately, there's one sad, immutable fact about all relationships. They will all end. In one way or another, they all end. So it's up to each of us to decide whether we want to be prepared or not. Needless to say, a few tissues were used in the making of this video.
But before we go any further, let's address the elephant in the room. There's nothing going on with Gabby and I. We're doing great. This is just a topic that we believe every couple really needs to address for practical reasons, and there are a lot of things that go into it, including things we never ever want to think about. So today we'll go over marriage in general, as we plan to get married next year, and how to prepare for the end of it. Our hope is that you find some of this information useful or at least thought-provoking.
There are generally two ways relationships end for which you can prepare: parting ways and death. When you part ways with someone that you have built a life with, there are a lot of things that need to be worked out. And honestly, money should not be one of those things that need to be added to the situation. Tensions are already high, typically, people are hurt, and emotions are running wild. Do you really want that to be the time to figure out these critical financial issues? This is the main reason we plan to have a prenuptial agreement. We want to make sure that any decisions we make about each other are done from a place of love and care, not a place of anger or resentment. We each brought some things to the relationship, and we've built a lot more together. It is only right that we thoughtfully split this life we've built in the event we need to. The dream of traveling the world is one we both share, and we both deserve to live it, even if something happens to our relationship and we have to do it separately.
There are a lot of people who say that a prenup is planning for failure. Why would you ever do something you plan to fail? To that we say, with all the love we can, grow up. Life happens, people change, things change, priorities can shift. Let's be smart adults and accept that change is the only constant, and it is possible that we can change too much for the relationship to be viable. We don't expect it to happen, we don't want it to happen, and we work a lot to make sure it doesn't happen. But we'd be fools not to concede that it could happen. In that terrible and unlikely scenario, we want to have already considered the joy and wonder we've brought to each other's lives and agreed on what would be a fair and equitable split of our assets. Now, some may be asking, though, why bother getting married at all then? If you don't get married, you don't have to worry about splitting your assets, right? That's a fair point, and things are different for each couples. But remember that in some jurisdictions, you can be considered common law married if you just live together for any significant length of time. Here in Texas, that's only 2 years. Common law marriage has the same legal requirements as traditional marriage, including the split of assets.
Given our plan of retiring all over the world and traveling for the rest of our lives, getting married will make things a little easier. Did you know that there are places in the world where it's illegal for an unmarried man and woman to share a hotel room? It's true. And that's inconvenient, but there are also other more serious examples. For instance, during a trip a few years back, we came across a very scary situation. I'm allergic to insect bites or stings. I carry an EpiPen everywhere I go because of the risk of anaphylaxis. When we were in Thailand, I got bit or scratched or stung, who knows, by something while in the ocean, and I had a minor allergic reaction.
It was more than minor. The rash was all over her arm and back.
We went to a clinic and I got some antihistamines and a cream to put on the rash, but the nurse pointed out something that stuck with us. She said that if I were to be incapacitated, Jay could not consent to any treatment on my behalf because we were not married. They would have had to call my parents because either he needed an apostilled power of attorney for Thailand specifically, or we needed to be married.
So an apostille is like a notary public. They certify documents as authentic by witnessing their signing and verifying the identities of the people signing them. Basically, we would each need to have apostilled powers of attorney for each other in literally every country we would go to in order to consent for care if anything happens. Talk about impractical. Now, marriage also confers other benefits around taxes and probate rules and laws in different countries, but that's really not the topic of this video.
The consent for care topic segues into the other way relationships generally end: death. No one ever wants to think of the inevitable fact that we are all mortal and will eventually pass. Also, the odds are that one of us will pass before the other. It's not a happy topic and we don't want to dwell on it, but we do want to be prepared.
So how do you prepare for that to happen? Well, you take some precautions and you have a lot of uncomfortable conversations with each other, making sure you're aware of each other's final requests. Should you be kept alive through artificial means? For how long? What should be done with your remains? Do you want to be buried? If so, where? What about cremation? What do you want done with your ashes? Are there any special observations you want done, religious ceremonies or celebration of life? All of these should be detailed into what's called a living will or an advanced healthcare directive. This document needs to be notarized and witnessed in accordance with your state laws in order to be valid. Now, similarly to a prenup, this is something you could just talk about and agree to privately. However, grief can be a powerful and disorienting force. You want to make sure that in that moment, your decisions aren't influenced by pain and despair. Having something official can remove the burden of having to make hard decisions in an already hard situation. Another possible document for this would be a durable power of attorney for healthcare, which would allow the person named to make healthcare decisions on your behalf should you be unable to do so. But again, you need to have the conversations in order to make this happen.
A note: a living will is different from a standard will. A living will is only for health care. They do not cover finances or estate issues, and you will need both. Without a standard will, any accounts that exist only in one person's name will be held up in probate until the disposition can be decided by the courts, even if you're married. With a properly filed will, that time can be shortened considerably. There are a lot of considerations that go into a will, so you might want to consult with an attorney, or if you have a relatively simple estate, use a software like Willmaker. You will need to create, have witnessed, notarized, and file the will with the court. And in the will, you will have to name an executor who will be the person responsible for settling the estate named in your will. You will also have to name and create a durable power of attorney to oversee any property, financial, or legal obligations spelled out in the will. Usually, your executor and the power of attorney holder will be the same person, but not necessarily.
And we are not attorneys or estate planners. Please consult a local attorney that specializes in these things for the regulations in your jurisdiction. Most of them offer free consultations for things like this. Also, be sure to add your partner as the primary beneficiary on all your accounts: banking, investment, retirement, insurance, literally everything. This will save you a lot of headaches. You should review your beneficiaries every year anyway. Make it a part of your annual portfolio rebalance. Something we also do is make sure we have access to each other's online accounts, everything from banks to social media. We've heard many stories of people being powerless about things posted on their loved one's social media after they've passed. Since we both use Bitwarden, a platform that stores all your logins and passwords securely, we just need to make sure that each of us have access to that.
The final important piece for this is life insurance. Life insurance can be a good idea, but we are trying to be strategic about it based on our needs. You see, while we're still working towards our goal of early retirement, we do keep enough life insurance to ensure that, should the worst happen, the other person can go and live the life we wanted to have. However, once we get to our retirement goal, we will cancel our life insurance policies. Since at that point we should have saved enough money for both of us to live on, keeping life insurance would be unnecessary. Life insurance is a very complex topic and not the focus of this video. But if you'd like to know more about it, leave a comment and we'll make a video explaining it in more detail.
So to recap, the sad fact about relationships is that they end, one way or another. You owe it to yourselves and to each other to have these difficult conversations before anything happens.
So what do you think? Do you disagree with us on the prenup topic? What about life insurance? Are we forgetting something important? Are we glossing over something and you want us to go deeper in any of these topics? Let us know in the comments below.
Follow us on social media or our blog at GabbyandJaysJourney.com or retireallover.com. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell to be notified whenever we post new content.
Until then, please stay safe, do your part, take care of one another, and thank you for joining us.